The restaurant fell silent as Mark stood up, knocking over his water glass. "You're David's ex-wife?" he asked, his voice echoing through the intimate dining space. Olivia's eyes widened, her perfectly manicured hand frozen midway to her wine glass. "You're his best friend," she whispered back. The waiter approaching their table slowly retreated, sensing the tension. Neither of them knew that this blind date had been carefully orchestrated by someone with motives that would change both their lives forever. But what happened next would shock everyone involved. Mark Thompson never expected to find himself on a blind date at 38. As a single father to 10-year-old Emma, dating had taken a permanent backseat in his life. His days revolved around school drop-offs, soccer practices, and his architectural firm. Romance wasn't even on his radar until his sister Jen's persistent meddling. "Just one dinner, Mark. She's perfect for you," Jen had insisted, waving her phone with Olivia's photo. "Smart, successful, and she loves kids. What do you have to lose?" What indeed? As he adjusted his navy blazer in the mirror, Emma watched from his bedroom doorway. "You look handsome, Dad," she said, her small face serious. "Are you nervous?" Mark smiled, kneeling to her level. "A little. It's been a while since Dad went on a date. Will you marry her if you like her?" Emma asked, her eyes wide with childish directness. Mark laughed, ruffling her hair. "Whoa there, kiddo. It's just dinner. One step at a time." Little did he know how complicated those steps would become. Olivia Bennett arrived at Costello's 15 minutes early, a habit from her days as a corporate attorney. Now running her own boutique law practice, punctuality remained her religion. Her long, silky blonde hair cascaded over her shoulders, contrasting with her emerald dress that hugged her figure perfectly. She'd almost cancelled 3 times that day, but her therapist's words echoed in her mind, "You can't hide from happiness forever, Olivia." The divorce from David had been finalized 2 years ago, but the wounds still felt fresh. His infidelity had blindsided her, destroying the life she'd carefully built. Dating seemed impossible afterward. Until her friend Rachel had shown her Mark's picture and insisted they'd be perfect together. When Mark walked into the restaurant, Olivia's breath caught. Tall with an athletic build, his fair skin slightly flushed from the cool evening air, he moved with quiet confidence. His eyes scanned the room before landing on her, a smile transforming his serious face. "Olivia?" he asked, approaching her table. She nodded, returning his smile. "Mark. Nice to finally meet you." The conversation flowed easily as they ordered drinks. Mark was charming, his wit sharp but never cutting. He made her laugh genuinely for the first time in months. "So, your sister set you up on this blind date?" Olivia asked, sipping her wine. Relentlessly, Mark replied with a grin. "She's convinced I'll die alone surrounded by architectural blueprints and my daughter's soccer trophies if she doesn't intervene." "And your daughter?" "Emma, right? How does she feel about you dating?" Mark's expression softened. "She's surprisingly supportive. Even helped me pick out this tie. She said blue brings out my eyes." He leaned forward. "What about you? How did you get roped into this?" "My friend Rachel. She's on a mission to." Olivia stopped mid-sentence, her eyes catching on something behind Mark. The color drained from her face. "What's wrong?" Mark turned to follow her gaze. A man was being seated across the restaurant, David. Her ex-husband. Mark's best friend. The realization hit them simultaneously. And that's when Mark stood up, knocking over his water glass. The revelation hung between them like a physical presence. David hadn't noticed them yet, focused on his date, a woman Olivia recognized as his former assistant, the one he'd cheated with. "I should go," Olivia whispered, reaching for her purse. "Wait," Mark said, his mind racing. "Let's not let this ruin our evening." We can go somewhere else. Olivia hesitated. You're still willing to continue this date? Even knowing who I am? Mark considered this. He and David had been friends since college, but their relationship had cooled after David's divorce. Mark had never approved of how David had handled his marriage, though he'd only heard one side of the story. I'd like to get to know you, Olivia. Not as David's ex, but as yourself. They slipped out unnoticed, finding a small wine bar 2 blocks away. The awkwardness gradually dissolved as they addressed the elephant in the room. Did you know? Olivia asked directly. About the affair? Mark shook his head. Not until it was over. David and we've drifted apart these past few years. I didn't agree with his choices. Yet you remained friends. 20 years of friendship is hard to walk away from, Mark admitted. But I never condoned what he did. As the night progressed, they discovered mutual interests beyond their connection to David. Both loved historical architecture, obscure documentaries, and had a shared addiction to crossword puzzles. The conversation deepened, touching on their pasts, their dreams, their fears. Emma's mother left when she was 2, Mark revealed, his voice quiet. Just decided parenthood wasn't for her. No warning, no real explanation. Olivia reached across the table, her hand covering his. I'm sorry. That must have been devastating. It was. For a long time, I was angry. Then just sad. Now I'm mostly grateful that Emma has grown into this amazing, resilient kid despite it all. She sounds wonderful. She is. But what about you? Any children? Olivia's expression clouded. We tried. For years. Multiple rounds of IVF, all the treatments. Nothing worked. David blamed me, though the doctors said it was unexplained infertility. When he left, he told me he wanted a complete family. His new girlfriend was pregnant within 3 months. Mark's jaw tightened. That's cruel. Life often is, Olivia said with a sad smile. But we survive. As they walked along the riverfront after dinner, a comfortable silence fell between them. The city lights reflected on the water, creating a magical atmosphere. This is crazy, isn't it? Mark finally said. Of all the people in this city, we end up on a date together. Do you think it was really a coincidence? Olivia asked. Your sister and my friend setting us up? Mark stopped walking. You think they knew? I'm not sure. But it seems like quite a coincidence. The thought hung between them as they continued walking. Whether planned or fate, they had found each other in the most unexpected way. 3 weeks and 5 dates later, Mark invited Olivia to dinner at his home. The significant step of introducing her to Emma wasn't lost on either of them. What if she hates me? Olivia fretted as they prepared dinner together in Mark's kitchen. Impossible, Mark assured her, stealing a quick kiss. Though she might judge your pasta-making skills. She's become quite the food critic lately. Emma arrived home from her friend's house precisely at 6, bursting through the door with the energy only a 10-year-old could possess. She stopped short when she saw Olivia, suddenly shy. Emma, this is my friend Olivia I told you about, Mark said gently. Olivia knelt down to Emma's level. I've heard so much about you. Your dad says you're the soccer star of your team. Emma studied her carefully before responding. Do you like soccer? I love watching it, though I'm terrible at playing. A small smile appeared on Emma's face. I could teach you sometime. I'd like that very much. Dinner went smoothly until Emma asked the question Mark had been dreading. How did you and Dad meet? Mark and Olivia exchanged glances. Well, Olivia began carefully, we were set up by your Aunt Jen and my friend Rachel. Like a blind date? Emma asked, eyes wide with interest. Exactly like that, Mark confirmed. Emma seemed to consider this information. And do you like each other now? Mark felt his face warm. Yes, we do. Good, Emma declared, returning to her pasta. Because Dad laughs more when he talks about you. And you make better pasta sauce than he does. Later that night, after Emma had gone to bed, Mark and Olivia sat on the porch swing, a blanket draped over their laps against the autumn chill. She's amazing, Olivia said softly. You've done an incredible job with her. Thank you, Mark replied, his arm tightening around her shoulders. She liked you. The pasta sauce comment is high praise in this household. Olivia laughed, then grew serious. Mark, there's something we need to discuss. David called me yesterday. Mark stiffened beside her. What did he want? He heard we're dating. I don't know how. He wasn't happy. Did he threaten you? Mark's voice had an edge she hadn't heard before. No, nothing like that. He just said it was inappropriate and disloyal of you. Mark scoffed. That's rich, coming from him. He said he's coming back to town next week. Wants to meet with both of us. The tension in Mark's jaw was visible. You don't have to see him. I know. But maybe we should. Clear the air. Otherwise, this will hang over us. Mark was silent for a long moment. You're right. But we do it together. The meeting with David at a neutral coffee shop was as uncomfortable as expected. David alternated between cold anger and wounded indignation. Of all the women in the city, Mark? My wife? Ex-wife, Olivia corrected firmly. You gave up any say in my life when you cheated. And you gave up any right to dictate my friendships when you betrayed her, Mark added. We didn't plan this, David. It just happened. David's expression hardened. So what, you're in love now? Playing happy families with Emma? How convenient for you, Olivia. Finally got the ready-made family you always wanted. The cruel barb hit its mark. Olivia flinched as if slapped. Mark stood abruptly. That's enough. We came out of respect for our history, but I won't sit here and let you speak to her that way. Mark, it's okay, Olivia said quietly. No, it's not, Mark insisted, his eyes never leaving David's. You want to be angry with me? Fine. But Olivia deserves better than your bitterness. David's laugh was hollow. You have no idea what you're getting into. She's damaged goods, Mark. Couldn't even give me children. Mark's voice dropped dangerously low. Get out. Now. After David stormed out, Olivia sat trembling, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have suggested this. Mark knelt before her, taking her hands in his. Hey, look at me. You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing. What he said about me was cruel and untrue, Mark finished firmly. Olivia, you are the strongest, most compassionate woman I've ever known. Emma adores you. He stopped, realizing what he was about to say. Olivia's eyes widened. You what? Mark took a deep breath. I'm falling in love with you. And it terrifies me because it's happening so fast, but I can't deny it. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of emotion. Mark and Olivia grew closer, creating a rhythm to their relationship that included Emma at every step. They faced challenges, whispers from mutual friends, David's continued attempts to create friction, and their own fears about moving too quickly. The breaking point came 3 months into their relationship. Olivia arrived at Mark's house to find him distant, troubled. What's wrong? She asked as they prepared dinner. Mark hesitated. David came by my office today. He showed me pictures of you with another man from last week. Said you were seeing someone else behind my back. Olivia froze. And you believed him? No, Mark said quickly. But I need to know, who was the man in the coffee shop? The one you were arguing with? Olivia set down her knife carefully. That was my brother, Michael. He's in town unexpectedly. We were arguing because he's drinking again, and I was trying to convince him to get help. Your brother? Mark looked confused. You never mentioned a brother. Because we've been estranged for years. His addiction tore our family apart. I only saw him because he showed up at my office claiming to be sober. Mark closed his eyes, shame washing over him. I'm sorry. I should have just asked you directly instead of letting David get in my head. Yes, you should have, Olivia agreed, her voice tight. Trust works both ways, Mark. I know. I messed up. He reached for her hand. Forgive me? Olivia studied his face. On one condition. No more letting David or anyone else come between us. If you have questions, ask me. If I have concerns, I'll come to you. Deal? Deal, Mark promised, pulling her into his arms. That night, as they lay together in the quiet darkness of Mark's bedroom, Olivia voiced her deepest fear. What if I can't give you more children? Emma is wonderful, but you're young enough to have more kids. I might not be able to give you that. Mark propped himself up on one elbow, looking down at her. Olivia, listen to me. I love you for who you are, not for what you can or cannot give me. Emma is enough. You are enough. If more children come into our lives someday, through whatever means, that would be a blessing. But it's not a condition of my love. Tears slipped from the corners of Olivia's eyes. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes. 6 months into their relationship, on a crisp spring morning, Mark took Olivia and Emma on a picnic to the botanical gardens where he and Olivia had shared their third date. As Emma ran ahead to explore, Mark took Olivia's hand, leading her to a secluded bench surrounded by blooming cherry trees. Remember our conversation here? He asked, his voice unusually nervous. Olivia smiled. You told me about your dream to design sustainable community spaces. And I admitted I still sleep with my childhood teddy bear. Mr. Buttons, Mark nodded, grinning. Very dignified name. He took both her hands in his expression growing serious. Olivia, these past months have been the happiest of my life. You've brought joy back into my world in ways I never expected. You've embraced Emma as your own. You've helped me believe in love again. Olivia's heart began to race as Mark reached into his pocket and dropped to one knee. I know it hasn't been long, but when you know, you know. Olivia Bennett, will you marry me? Will you build a life with Emma and me? Through tears of joy, Olivia nodded. Yes. 1,000 times yes. As Mark slipped the ring onto her finger, Emma came running back, squealing with delight when she saw what was happening. Does this mean Olivia will be my mom now? She asked, throwing her arms around both of them. If that's okay with you, Olivia said softly. Emma's answer was another fierce hug. Their wedding 6 months later was intimate and joyful. David, having finally made peace with their relationship, even attended with sincere well wishes. As Mark and Olivia shared their first dance as husband and wife, he whispered in her ear. Do you want to keep dating? Olivia laughed, remembering their first awkward blind date. For the rest of our lives, she promised. 2 years later, against all medical predictions, Olivia discovered she was pregnant. The day their son was born, Mark held him with wonder, Emma peering over his shoulder at her new brother. He's perfect, Mark whispered, tears in his eyes. Our family is perfect, Olivia corrected, reaching for Emma's hand. Life isn't always a fairy tale. Sometimes it's messy and complicated. Sometimes the path to happiness leads through heartbreak. But for Mark and Olivia, a blind date that began with shock and awkwardness became the first chapter of their greatest love story. If you enjoyed this journey of unexpected love and second chances, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us all that love can find us in the most surprising ways. We'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your country in the comments below.